the lady expressed herself, and you're not here, you're there. Is there any question you'd like me to ask her?
And no, I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later
I'll
on.
give you some lessons on how to be an editor, because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were, and are no longer. How did that happen?
Once again, total power in one person's hands, not the American way. These damn bills that come out here all the damn time, come out here at the last second, and I gotta try to figure out how to vote for my people. I'm sick of it. Every year, we give power to one person.
Well, there's some big punches being thrown here.
We're gonna get in the car.
I can't deal with this!
I can't do it! My dad told me not to do it, but I did it! I'm not
Listen! Hey! Would you listen to me for a second? Just listen to me! Why? What's your problem? I spent all this money on this trip!
So, tonight, we're going to be talking about anger. Anybody ever get angry? No? You know, we Christians aren't supposed to get angry, right? You know about that. Well, this is a really favorite topic of mine. I've been talking about this for a very long time, lived this even longer, and so I know this topic inside and out. And hopefully, when you leave here, you'll have a much better understanding and appreciation for anger. But you should be aware that anger is only one letter short of danger. You ever been in a dangerous situation with an angry person? Ever notice that? You know, what do you do? What do you say? How do you respond? Well, check out some of these dangerous situations. Remember this? 1999. It's a long time ago. Seems like yesterday when this happened. 25 dead. Columbine High School. Remember this one? 2007? Virginia Tech massacre. 33 dead. And how about this one? Remember in Norway? Remember when that happened back in 2011, not too long ago? 80 dead. Oh my gosh. What makes people do this? What's going on? How do we respond? What do we do when somebody gets angry? Then there's Sandy Hook, Aurora shootings at the theater, and the Naval Yard. These are the most recent. 27 dead, 12 dead, another 12 dead. What's going on with this anger, this issue of anger? Penn State, or actually Pennsylvania officers, a domestic disturbance situation came up. It says gunmen wearing a bulletproof vest and lying in wait opened fire on officers responding to a domestic disturbance call on Saturday, killing 3 of them and turning a quiet Pittsburgh street into a battlefield. Speaking of domestic violence, how about spousal abuse? People getting angry, people getting hurt. And what I'm also seeing is that it's not just husbands abusing wives. I'm starting to see wives abuse husbands. I want you to be aware of a resource. It's on my website, so I'm going to show you how to go find it. I wrote an article many years ago on violence in the Christian home. And it really answers the question, how do we respond to domestic violence in our church? And oftentimes we have some very polarizing responses. One is, well, just submit and love him into health. And the other one is, leave the guy. Get out. Now. And I think there may be a third option. And so I talk about this. It might be a helpful resource if you are struggling with that with somebody. So here's how you get to it. So you're at my website. Just watch this here on the screen. You get to turningpointcounseling.org. You go down here to where it says Therapist, License, Dr. Peter Robbins, Resource page. Now under there is who's in the driver's seat, and also will be anger, friend or foe, once I upload this. So you scroll down once you get to the page, and you'll get to this. There's several resources on there. you get down to this part here where it says Violence in the Christian Home, there's a PDF of the brochure that you can download. There's also another article I wrote on Jesus, the Jesus who didn't please others. And people can get into abusive situations by being people pleasers, right? Just doing whatever anybody wants, not to ruffle any feathers. And that can also incite or create an abusive relationship. So those are two resources for you. This guy here was accused of shooting his lawnmower. Okay? According to the criminal complaint, Lewandowski said he was angry because his lawn boy wouldn't start Wednesday morning. And he's, about shooting his lawnmower. He said, I can do that. It's my lawnmower. It's my yard, so I can shoot it if I want to. Well, he could face up to $11,000 in fine and 6 years in prison. I'm not sure how that would go, but people get angry at crazy stuff, right? And we just get frustrated because we have these expectations and aren't met, and then we just explode. There is a study on anger that people who burst into anger, have explosive anger episodes, can create a heart attack. They put themselves at risk. Now check this out. Let's check the sound on this.
Stress. It's part of all of our lives. Some of us believe we need it in order to maintain our edge, in fact, but any doctor will tell you too much stress is downright toxic. And so tonight, an experiment. We're going to wire up one of the most stressed out guys you've ever seen, a big-time college basketball coach gearing up for March Madness. Dr. Oz says the results contain lessons for all of us.
This is Coach Thomas. One of the highest paid coaches in college basketball. In the heat of the game, the pressure gets the best of him. That's how I feel. It's all part of a long tradition of coaches who appear to be going mad.
Nick Cronin looks like he wants a technical.
And some go straight into full tilt meltdown.
Pick me up! You piece of... really fair. Inflator just dropped the stick over the ice. He has lost his mind.
Coaches are no stranger to health issues. As seen in this dramatic video, NFL head coach Gary Kubiak suddenly collapsed on the field last season. A few years back, Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski fainted in the middle of this game. But what does all this hair pulling, foot stomping, and hand wringing do to one's health? I don't know, why are you up? To find out, Nightline was granted unprecedented access to wire the Michigan State coach during an actual game, tracking his breathing rate and heart rate.
So I just gotta pop this in?
Pop that in. And we even had him swallow a sensor that tracks his core body temperature. So what do you expect to find out?
I don't think anybody understands all the things that you go through. Maybe the biggest one is stress. And it's probably one of the harder ones to measure.
Tom's wife, Lupe, knows the drill. But what will our experiment reveal? Is her husband's stressful job putting him at risk?
That is very stressful. There's so much that comes into the basketball program. So yeah, he's very stressed.
We recruited two doctors, Dr. Redford Williams, who joined me courtside, and Dr. Oz back at the Nightline Lab, one of the nation's top cardiologists.
The number one cause of stress is a sense that you don't control the world outside of you.
The monitors are set. Our cameras are rolling. It's game time. At the start, Coach Izzo seems pretty calm, breathing easy, 14 breaths per minute, heart rate 68 beats per minute. But as things get going, nerves kick in. His heart rate rises even from just hearing his own name being announced. When the opposing team scores the first basket, his heart immediately starts racing.
If you suddenly jerk your heart rate up, things can happen like irregular heartbeats that become permanent. They can be dangerous because they can cause strokes. They make you faint.
What up to 122? The second basket.
Coach Izzo's team is losing big time, and it's having an impact on his body.
There's definitely a correlation between the number of points they're down and his heart rate. His core body temperature has actually gone up. It's approaching 100.
Your body temperature is never supposed to vary that much. If it does go up, even to the degree that it went up with Coach Izzo, it means that his body is feeling not only stressed, but being fatigued by that stress.
Halfway out ahead of Iki. Listen in.
Izzo's team starts to rally. Finally, Izzo's heart gets a break.
We're tied at 28. At halftime.
When the game starts up again, it doesn't look good for his team.
So he just really blew his stack. 9:14 to go in the game. Slammed the table and really lost his cool.
The referees start calling fouls, and Izzo gets mad, really mad. But Dr. Oz says this is potentially dangerous.
So dealing with a quick, sudden burst of anxiety, like someone calls you up and scares you about some news, is one thing. Having chronic stress that never gets better, that's even more detrimental.
Izzo's vitals reach their peak. His core body temperature climbs to 100 degrees, and his heart rate spikes to a game-high 135 beats per minute. That's 70% of his max heart rate, which is the same percentage experienced by a marathoner. And Izzo hasn't even left courtside. When it seems winning is out of reach, Coach Izzo's heart rate and body temp begin to taper off, almost as if his body is conceding defeat.
The giving up process allows your body to come back down to a normal place. But that's, of course, what happens no matter what. Because whether you win or lose, eventually your body quits.
But the results of our unique experiment reveal that every time Coach Izzo's heart rate spiked, it quickly returned to a more normal level. This shows that his heart is in good shape. But is this kind of internal roller coaster dangerous for your long-term health?
That kind of a chronic appearance can lead to longer-term issues with your immune system. It can lead to problems with blood pressure. It creates a chronic stress environment where the body feels it's always under attack.
So don't coach basketball.
Don't coach basketball. Any other thing you shouldn't do? Any other careers? Who else has some pretty angry, loaded careers? What comes to mind? Construction, okay. Not speaking from experience, but anybody else? Police, absolutely. Firemen, I mean, these are pretty high-charged situations where you can get pretty angry at people not cooperating with you or getting in your way or opposing you, so it can be pretty dangerous. So it's really not only just bad for a relationship, it's bad for your health. Anybody here parents? Anybody had or have teenagers? You've been angry, right? They know how to push our buttons, don't they? They just know how to fire us up, and off we go. And oftentimes they're leading us into this madness. But check this out.
Next tonight, a secret inside the modern American family. Almost every parent has at one time or another yelled at a difficult child, and tonight there is a new study giving insight into what that can do to everyone when an adult starts yelling. Nightline anchor Cynthia McFadden now with advice for the whole family.
Who can say they've never yelled at their kids, especially their teenagers? A problem the super nanny was often brought in to deal with.
You don't tell me anything. You do what I tell you to do, and you shut your damn mouth about it.
And it's not just reality TV.
I've been having problems with my daughters.
The dads of his father's group in Kingsburg, New Jersey, part of Parents Anonymous, were honest enough to admit it.
How many of you have ever yelled at your child?
But a new study contends, even in otherwise loving homes, yelling, especially when it's mixed with name-calling and insults, can cause the same problem for young teenagers as hitting them: depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem.
We are New Age Brady Bunch.
The Johnson-Tuggy clan in Cleveland say they don't curse or use put-downs, but they are a little worried about how much yelling goes on.
I'm a yeller. I yell out of frustration.
Like, hey, grab their attention. This is not cool.
But experts say yelling often doesn't work. Listen to their kids.
Sometimes when I get yelled at, I get angry, go downstairs and start hitting my punching bag, or I feel sad.
I just wish I could get talked to, not necessarily yelled at.
We brought in parenting expert Dr. Carolyn Ivers-Landis.
Hi.
One strategy she suggests is for parents to give themselves a time out.
Having the other parent who's maybe not pushed to the limit as much, maybe step in a little bit.
I don't think any parent would ever object to having a break.
Another tip, use more carrot, less stick. You want them to get ready for school faster? Promise a movie.
I think there's some things that they could earn, like that camera that he wants so bad.
Learning to negotiate and keep your cool can make the teen years so much less stressful for everyone.
Or, as my mother used to say in a very quiet voice, when you've lost your temper, you've lost your argument. Diane, you're a great mother, but what if you've done it? What if you've already done it? What are you going to do?
Well, you know, I love this advice from parenting experts who say, don't be afraid to apologize to your kids. You don't lose authority, you actually gain credibility. Parents are people too. If you apologize, they'll know that apologizing is something we do in our family.
So admit it, apologize.
Fess up.
Okay, thank you so much, Cindy McFadden. Good to have you here.
All right, so even yelling can increase your own blood pressure, and it just makes things worse, and it doesn't work, as you can see the feedback you get from kids. And this not only happens in parent-child relationship. What other similar parent-child relationships are there out there in the world? Teacher-student? Employer-employee? Coach?
Husband-wife.
Husband-wife, there you go. Absolutely. So there's all these high-charge situations where we have to really be careful about how we manage our frustration and our anger. Who said this? Even though I was once a blasphemer and a persecutor and a violent man, I was shown mercy because I acted in ignorance and unbelief. Paul. He was a violent man. He describes himself as a violent man. Amazing, isn't it? I mean, this is one of our prolific New Testament writers, and he struggled with anger. It's interesting. We all struggle with anger. 1 Timothy 1:13. Our goal, say this with me, we're not starting a cult, so hang in there. But I'm going to ask you to do this. When I say go, we're going to do this. But I just want you to say and hold the M. Okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Nice. A-U-M. So what are we going to do today? We're going to first learn how to accept anger. There's some people who their experience with anger is so upsetting, so painful, that they can't even accept it. It's like it can't be in their life. It was so painful. But it is a part of normal life, and we need to come to a place where we accept it. The second thing we need to do is to understand it. And by understanding it, we'll learn to accept it more. And finally, we need to learn how to manage it. And we'll attempt to try to do all three of these before the evening's out. Now I'm going to show you some folks on the, hold on, let me get my notes here real quick. Take a look at those. Those are the folks that have some interesting quotes about anger. And what I'd like you to do is call out. Did I use my glasses again? All right. Nope.
Behind you.
Oh, see, they're camouflaged. Okay. All right, so who do I want to hear about? C.S. Lewis. Anger is the anesthetic of the mind. Another one. Albert Einstein. Anger dwells only in the bosom of fools. Anger dwells only in the bosoms of fools. Wesley. Unholy tempers are always unhappy tempers. Billy Graham. Hot heads and cold hearts never solve anything. Mark Twain. Where'd he go? When angry, count 4. When very angry, swear. None of you have ever done that, I know, but, Mark is Mark. All right. Somebody else? Anonymous. Who's that? Oh. When a man's temper gets the best of him, it reveals the worst of him. You guys haven't picked my favorite. Ambrose. Where'd he go? Where is he? Speak when you are angry, and you make the best speech you'll ever regret. Chinese proverb. The fire you kindle for your enemy only burns yourself more than him. sister. There she is. This is my favorite. Anyone who angers you conquers you. Anyone who angers you conquers you. Isn't that true? You give up control. You give up yourself to the other person. Did we miss anybody? Buddy Hackett. Come on, we got to hear from Buddy, right? I've had a few arguments with people, but I never carry a grudge. You know why? While you're carrying a grudge, they're out dancing. Right? I mean, you're angry and they don't even know you're angry at them, and they're just having a great life, and you're just caught up with bitterness and frustration and revenge and all kinds of nasty stuff that hurts you, not the other person. Okay. How about the Bible? Let's see what the Bible has to say. Job 5:2, the hot temper of a fool eventually kills him. The jealous anger of a simpleton does her in. We just saw a video, right, that shows how it could kill you. How anger could kill. Slowness to anger makes for deep understanding. A quick-tempered person stockpiles stupidity. He isn't just stupid. He's stockpiling it. A sound mind makes for a robust body, but runaway emotions corrode the bones. We just saw that as well, right? I mean, there's evidence that's showing that the Bible is true, and has been true for forever. One more. If a ruler loses his temper against you, don't panic. A calm disposition quiets intemperate rage.
That's the same reference.
It's a different one. That's an error. Who would be a ruler in your life? Boss? A husband. If a husband loses his temper against you, don't panic. A calm disposition quiets intemperate rage. If a boss, if a coach, if a husband, if a wife, if a teenager. Soft answer. We're going to look very specifically at this as a technique and a tool to help when you manage somebody else's anger. When they go into a rage, what do you do when somebody goes into a rage? There you are. Now what are you going to do? And oftentimes, if you've noticed, whatever you do makes things worse, doesn't it? So then you're just baffled. You don't know what to do. So we're going to talk about what to do tonight, very specifically. You know, anger is one of my favorite emotions, and I call it the Vega-matic of emotions. I mean, it slices and dices. It does all kinds of things. Check it out. It produces energy. It gains attention. It's very sudden. It puts people on the defensive. It's a weapon. It gains attention, loses credibility. It's a shield. It obtains distance. It loses respect. It's destructive. It generates fear. It's a mask. It's action-oriented. It's controlling. It gets results. It's safe. It terrorizes. It's pushy. Gives appearance of strength. It can be destructive. It can be godly. It's powerful. It can be sinful. It can be righteous. It can alienate. It can be unpredictable. I mean, it's quite amazing what this emotion of anger is. And really, for many men, for us men, it's the anger. It's the emotion of choice. When you don't know what else to do, just get angry.